Hello YouTube, this is Esplin227. Before you watch this video, go ahead and watch the video in the annotation and in the unterbar, as you James would say. It's a James video, True Happiness, and true happiness means embracing sadness and pain. This is not so much a response to that video, but a realization that video helped me come to. And it has to do with when a religious person says something to the degree of where does the meaning in your life come from if you don't believe in God? That it used to bother me when they say that because it perplexed me. I'm like, I would be like, does your meaning come from God? Isn't our short lives meaningless in the face of an eternity? How does a tribalistic, all-powerful entity that enjoys the smell of burnt flesh, I know I'm taking it out of context, but that's beside the point, how does that give your life meaning? It's so strange. And it occurred to me, what the thing is in and of itself is irrelevant. It's not that gives them meaning, it's that they've quarantined all of the meaning in their life to that thing. The butcher's toughest man can cry like a baby in church. Sadness and being humble and being vulnerable, I guess it is quarantined to the church context, and it's ultimately related to what James said. Sadness and pain are almost seen as a weakness or an infection, and if you quarantine it to the church, that is, if that's the only time you allow yourself to feel grateful or almost a desperate level of love, and to realize that love is sacrifice, and to not be sarcastic about everything. Not that there's anything wrong with sarcasm. I'm not an old dude. Get off my lawn, you disrespectful kids. But even watching Let's Plays, if it's a sad game, they have to joke over the sad, like, oh, we're a tough guy. It's like, shut the fuck up and watch the fucking cutscene. You immature, emotionally stunted Philistines. I don't even know if that's the right word. It just sounds like something you would say to someone who's a simpleton. And it's frustrating because people are afraid to feel anything but absolutely secure. The whole emo thing. I understand the hatred of emos, or the avoidance of emos. And yeah, they are obnoxious because everything is a big thing to them, and they don't appreciate what they have a lot of the times. But you know what they are doing? They're feeling. They're not afraid to feel. They might be immature about it, but at least they're feeling. At least they're living. Now, when a religious person says your life can't have any meaning, well, I'll ask religious people, do you think that might be what it is? That on some level you're pushing meaning to the outskirts of your life? That the only time you can really feel connected to the universe is if you feel connected to a God? Because that's what it seems like from an outsider. And it's natural to feel that way. You don't want to feel bad. No one. Facing reality, understanding that you're small and, in a sense, insignificant is painful and uncomfortable, and you don't want to feel that way. You want to believe that there's an all-powerful being that loves you. That is a comfortable feeling. And maybe if you didn't push meaning out of your life in so many other areas, and it's not just you, it's me too. I've not avoided, but I haven't jumped on the chance to see a lot of the Asian movies that you, James, suggest. Mainly because a lot of those times I was off the pills, and for me, I need to be balanced. My brain needs to be able to contextualize things. They're not happy pills, they're just fixing a chemical imbalance. And I actually think a lot more people have that chemical imbalance, and their lives could be greatly improved, but because medication is overprescribed in a certain type of person, not a certain type of person, but in our society, because people, again, are afraid of sadness. If they feel any sadness, it seems that it's like an abnormality. It's underprescribed for other people because they don't want to be over-medicated. They don't want to be dependent on drugs. Which is amusing because they're dependent on other modern conveniences. Why not be dependent on something that balances out your brain so that your chemicals function properly? But it's not a different issue. It again has to do with the what ends up happening is you have people who genuinely need the medicine feel guilty, or they compare themselves to people who are just afraid to feel. I'm not afraid to feel. I have my limitations, but I need the pills to be able to be competent. That is, my internal dialogue isn't crippling, but I still feel. In fact, I believe I feel more intensely when I'm on the pills. My point is, no, I think I've made my point. It helps to put that in this context, that it's not just them, and they're not just too small-minded to see how foolish it is to say something like that. How do you have meaning without God? How do you have meaning with God? It's such a nihilistic belief. Well, that's all I really have to say about it. So what do you think? If you're religious, tell me whether you think on some level, look deep inside and ask yourself whether you tend to avoid pain and you only feel comfortable feeling pain in a religious context. And if you're not religious, do you think this is accurate? Do you think it's a good assessment of the religious person's attitude, even if they don't know that's how they feel? So I'm about to make another video, I believe tonight, because I got out of the flow of making videos and it's not easy to get back into that flow. So until my next video, try to make the world a better place, and I will too.